the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. Eric Bledsoe is having one of those nights. He had 13 points, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Kenny, your thoughts on the Bucks' first half?
Well, shooters were popping open right and left. Exceptional ball movement. Guys racing off screens, spotting up, knocking down shots. That's the way you play basketball unselfishly, and it was superb, and they exploited all the weaknesses of the defense.
Shaq, let's get your insight on Charlotte.
Well, they're obviously facing a hot shooting team tonight. That combined with a lackluster effort on defense, recipe for disaster, Ernie. Without major improvements defensively, this game is O-V-A, over.
And that wraps up the halftime show. Third quarter set to begin in just a few.
And as we conclude the third quarter, pretty much a blowout. It's been a one-sided affair. The Bucks on top, just dominating this one. We'll be back shortly live from Spectrum Center. For the first game of the NBA season, for Clark Kellogg, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan along with our terrific 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. So long and good night, everyone.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. Brooklyn found themselves in a close game in the first. The biggest lead they were able to get out to during the first period was 6 points. Defensively and offensively, they improved quite a bit in the second quarter, and they've got a nice 8-point halftime lead to show for it. Let's start with you, Shaq. What'd you think about the Nets?
Well, it was an unselfish, team-oriented half of basketball. The ball never stopped moving. Their offense had a great flow to it. It prevented anyone from getting lazy out there. They're always moving, cutting, knowing where they need to pass the ball, Ernie.
Kenny, what'd you think about Detroit?
Their lack of execution surprised me. You know, they had a lot of turnovers off sloppy ball handling, which goes back to the fundamentals. And I know we say it all the time, just make the simple play. And this is why. Without giving away possessions, they'd be a lot closer in this game.
And now with the second half about to get underway, let's send you back courtside. See everybody with Kevin Harlan.
Right at the rim. And we'll be right back after this. A chance to check out some of the tremendous play tonight from our Jordan player of the game.
And he's played this entire game on his front foot, Kevin. I mean, driving the lane, going to the rim with purpose, and getting those points the hard way.
First game of the new NBA season. For Greg Anthony, David Aldridge, Steve Smith, and the rest of our terrific 2K Sports crew, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. See you next time.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. Memphis came out looking very confident. They led by as many as 12 points, fueled by tough defense and great offense. By the end of the first quarter, they still had an 8-point lead. In the second quarter, they faced a much tougher challenge, but they intensified their efforts and pulled further ahead, finishing 10 points up at the half. What'd you think, Shaq, about the first half we saw from the Grizzlies?
Well, it was an unselfish, team-oriented half of basketball. The ball never stopped moving. Their offense had a great flow to it. It prevented anyone from getting lazy out there. They're always moving, cutting, knowing where they need to pass the ball, Ernie.
And Kenny, let's get your input on the Pacers.
Well, look, they turn the ball over way too much. You can't do that in the NBA. Teams are just too talented. You can't give them that many possessions. Don't give away the entire game just by giving up an extra few possessions here and there. These guys need to come with more precision in the second half.
And that wraps up the halftime show. Third quarter set to begin in just a few.
Time to step aside quickly, but we'll be back in no time with the start of the fourth quarter. Now we get the chance to present our Jordan Player of the Game, Thaddeus Young.
And his percentage from the field tonight seems almost made up. I didn't think it was possible to have that kind of success shooting the basketball. You need a little bit of luck, a bunch of hard work, and a whole lot of talent.
It's a chance now to catch up with the fourth member of our crew, Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Well, during the break, I listened
Team of
in
the
on
NBA
J.D.
season.
Bickerson.
For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan along with our terrific 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. So long and good night, everyone. They've done a phenomenal job down low. So many of their points coming right at the rim. And don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. Mohamed Bamba led the way in the first half. He had 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 1 block. His last game out, he was just not himself. But tonight, he has rounded right back into form with a very solid first half. What did you think, Kenny, about what we saw from the Magic?
Well, I love the way they're pushing the tempo, beating the defense down the floor, filling the lanes, finishing with authority, Ernie, getting to the rim and finishing hard.
And over to Shaq. What'd you think about Miami?
Well, one thing happened that really helped them out. Their bench came in and played absolutely beautiful. Gave them a huge boost. Not just trying to hold court, but actually putting points on the scoreboard. These guys should be starting, Ernie.
And that wraps up the halftime show. Third quarter set to begin in just a few.
Clinic in the paint. Shots are falling with regularity, and they are pounding it down low. We've got more in store for you right after this. Game of the new NBA season. For Greg Anthony, Brett Barry, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan. Thank you for watching the NBA, presented by 2K Sports. We'll see you next time. We'll take a quick break and then back to the action here.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello again, everybody. We've reached halftime of our first regular season game.
I'm swimming.
I thought you thought maybe the first half was going swimmingly. Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet. Shaquille. There was no stopping Kristaps Porzingis in the first half. He had 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 steal. Taking a look at the Knicks, Kenny, what'd you think?
Well, their success was largely about second chance points. They crashed the offense's boards heavy in the first half. I love how they fight for every 50-50 ball like it's the last ball on earth.
And over to the big fella, your thoughts on the Hawks?
Well, their poor rebounding is really hurting them. It hasn't killed them on the scoreboard yet, but they need to pick it up. This is a game they can win. If they come out hustling in the second half, they can win.
That about wraps it up. Time now for the second half of the game. We go to Kevin Harlan for the call.
As we'll be back in just a few moments with the start of our fourth quarter coming up next. That does it for the first game of the new NBA season. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for tuning in. So long, everyone.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. The first quarter for the Cavaliers was fairly even. They were unable to ever build a big lead in the first period, with 3 points being their largest cushion. They really did some damage in the second quarter, and as things started clicking for them, they were able to get out to a 9-point lead by halftime. What'd you think, Shaq, about Cleveland?
Well, it was an unselfish, team-oriented half of basketball. The ball never stopped moving. Their offense had a great flow to it. It prevented anyone from getting lazy out there. They're always moving, cutting, knowing where they need to pass the ball, Ernie.
Looking at Toronto, Kenny, your thoughts?
Well, they shot under 40% in the first half. There's your deficit. They missed some open looks, wide open. But overall, I thought the offense was stagnant. Look for their coach to draw up some specific plays to try to jumpstart them in the second half.
And that's all we have for now. Tell the folks goodbye, Shaq. Tell the folks goodbye,
Goodbye.
Kenny. Goodbye. Go to Kevin Harlan.
Many of their points coming right at the rim. We've got more NBA basketball coming your way in just a minute. First game of the new NBA season. For Steve Smith, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan thanking you for tuning in. So long and good night, everyone. This word.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. What a game it's been for Drew Holiday. He had 18 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. His last game out, he was just not himself. But tonight, he has rounded right back into form with a very solid first half. Kenny, your thoughts, how the Pelicans are playing?
Well, I thought their turning point was when the bench came in. Those guys really hustled, and they gave the team some energy, and then they started to score baskets. That was a bonus.
And Shaq, let's get your input on the Rockets.
They were strong in transition. Seemed like the guys fed off the higher tempo. Certainly, they definitely got the looks they wanted, playing an outstanding game. If they can keep it up in the second half, they may wear the other side out.
And that wraps up the halftime show. Third quarter set to begin in just a few.
present our Jordan Player of the Game, Carmelo Anthony.
And guys, he's been about as close to perfection as you can be. The intensity he's played with has been amazing. Just no let up. And as fired up as he's been, he's never let his emotions get out of control.
Does it for the first game of the new NBA season. For Greg Anthony, Brett Barry, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan. Thanks for watching the NBA, presented by 2K Sports. So long. They've gotten their best production tonight. Back right after this.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello again, everybody. We've reached halftime of our first regular season game.
I'm swimming.
I thought you thought maybe the first half was going swimmingly. Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet. Shaquille. San Antonio did not hesitate to set the pace. They put together some nice offensive stretches and at one point led by as many as 10. By the end of the first quarter, their lead was 7. The second quarter wasn't as kind to them, but they still fought through some mistakes to have a 6-point cushion at the half. Kenny, what was your take on San Antonio?
Well, their ball movement was phenomenal. Now, they're in good position to win this game, large in part because of those assists. And this is the thing, Ernie. When you win as a team, you feel better about everything that happens.
Shaq, what'd you think about Minnesota?
They were strong in transition. Seemed like the guys fed off the higher tempo. Certainly, they definitely got the looks they wanted, playing an outstanding game. They can keep it up in the second half, they may wear the other side out.
And that's all we have for now. Tell the folks goodbye, Shaq. Tell the folks goodbye,
Goodbye.
Kenny. Goodbye. Go to Kevin Harlan.
A 10-point lead. Looking good at this point, but wanting more. Right back after this break.
They make some adjustments coming out of a timeout.
And now let's present our Jordan Player of the Game, LaMarcus Aldridge.
And guys, his value has really come into play at the defensive end. So disruptive as a lockdown defender, forcing all
of the
those
NBA
turnovers.
season. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan along with our terrific 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. So long and good night, everyone. About to get started. We'll be back in just a moment.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. Utah found themselves in a close game in the first. They never got too far behind as their largest deficit in the period was 8. With an excellent team performance in the second quarter, they were able to push ahead, scoring easily and defending with a lot more intensity, pushing out to a 10-point lead here at the half. And Shaq, what did you think about what we saw from Utah?
Well, the offense is running on all cylinders. Guys are focused, executing, not playing outside of themselves. That's why their shooting percentage was so high. See it up there, Ernie, in the stratosphere? Anyway, they're mixing things up, which keeps the defense scrambling.
And over to Kenny now. Your take on the Kings.
It looked like they were shooting threes blindfolded. Sometimes you could get cold, but that was atrocious. It was scary. But they also looked scattered out there, and I think that disorganization was the main issue for them missing those shots. They need to establish themselves better into a better rhythm in the second half and avoid relying so heavily on the three-point shot.
And it's just about time now for the third quarter to get underway.
Yeah, an easy choice tonight. Look at the precision on this pass. Put it on a platter for him.
This is why you preach teamwork. Some of the most spectacular plays are the ones where guys are feeding off one another.
Now let's present our Jordan Player of the Game, Donovan Mitchell.
Well, he's got his field goal percentage in the high 50s, and that says a lot about how well he's been able to kind of exploit the gaps in the defense. His motion, his ability to find open spots on the floor, you can definitely
First
see
game of the new NBA
difference.
season. For Greg Anthony, Steve Smith, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. See you later. Defensively, they have gotten after it, contesting every shot going up. We'll get right back to the action when we return.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, everybody. This home crowd is elated about what they've seen so far. I'm Ernie Johnson. That's Shaquille O'Neal. That's Kenny Smith. Lou Williams has been having a big night. He had 16 points and 1 rebound. He struggled in their last game, but he's not having any problems tonight. Really good first half for him. He was right on the mark. And let us get your thoughts, big fella, on the Clippers.
Well, the perimeter shooting is the reason they're ahead. I think we'll probably see more of that in the second half, especially if they can stay hot. Man, that's so hot, I got to take my suit off.
Kenny, what was your takeaway on Denver?
Well, they shot under 40% in the first half. There's your deficit. They missed some open looks, wide open. But overall, I thought the offense was stagnant. Look for their coach to draw up some specific plays to try to jumpstart them in the second half.
And that's all we have for now. Tell the folks goodbye, Shaq. Tell the folks goodbye,
Goodbye.
Kenny. Goodbye. Go to Kevin Harlan.
Soon as we return from break, the fourth quarter gets underway.
True artistry right there. I mean, great decision on where to go with the ball, and how about the perfect delivery?
And they'd love to see every possession end this way. True team basketball.
Let's present our Jordan Player of the Game, Nikola Jokic.
And the D tried to get physical with him down low tonight, and it really backfired. Instead, he's just torn them up. He was aggressive, inviting the contact, and really just taking it straight to him.
He silenced this crowd with an unreal display. His For the ability first to game of the crown out the NBA season. For Clark Kellogg, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan thanking you for watching the NBA, presented by 2K Sports. We'll see you next time. He's pushed the ball at every chance, and it's paying off for him. And don't go away. We'll be right back.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny, and a favorite time of the year as we're halfway through one of the first games of this fresh NBA season. Dallas has the edge here at halftime. They are leading by 12. And Shaq, what did you see from Dallas?
I like their commitment to that inside game, boy. Get it inside to the post. Got to be scoring in the post, splashing to the basket. Just shoot the high percentage shot. No jumpers, no threes. They're being a more aggressive team, the more physical team. They're definitely going to win this game, Ernie.
Kenny, your take on Phoenix.
They're being far less aggressive than they ought to be. The free throw differential is huge right now. It's threatening to determine the outcome of the game. So they have to get into the lane and challenge defenders to make them try to stop you.
And that's going to do it for our halftime show, sadly. Third quarter about to start. See you again after the final.
Horn. Oh, buzzer.
Back after this break to get the fourth quarter underway.
Easy choice tonight. Look at the precision on this pass. Put it on a platter for him.
Well, there's a way to break down the defense with the handle, but you can do it with the pass.
This is
Prime
Kevin
example
Harlan.
of that
Thank
right there.
you for watching the NBA, presented by 2K Sports. We'll see you next time.